We often see them as symbols of adventure, freedom, conquest. Tough machines, built to tackle the wild. But what if the very spirit of exploration these vehicles represent is tied to a more complex, often darker, human history? Today, we're unboxing two legendary off-road diecasts, the Mini GT Land Rover Defender 110 Camel Trophy and the Mini GT Range Rover 1971 Bahama Gold. But we're not just looking at their incredible detail. We're looking at the unseen stories, the historical legacy of colonialism and resource exploitation that these kinds of vehicles sometimes carry. Think about it. When we picture a rugged 4x4 deep in the jungle or traversing a desert, our minds often go to heroism, discovery. But historically, many of these expeditions into remote areas were not just about discovery. They were about conquest, about finding and exploiting natural resources, minerals, timber, land, often in territories belonging to indigenous communities. The historical legacy of these off-road vehicles is intertwined with the era of colonialism. They were the workhorses of colonial administration, resource surveyors, and later crucial tools for companies involved in mining, logging, and oil exploration. They literally paved the way for the extraction that shaped global economies, but also often left behind environmental damage and social inequality. These vehicles became symbols of power, penetration, and the assertion of control over vast, wild territories and their hidden wealth. Let's look at the Mini GT Land Rover Defender 110 Camel Trophy. This isn't just any Defender, it represents the pinnacle of off-road adventure, enduring some of the harshest conditions on Earth in events like the Camel Trophy. The Camel Trophy itself, while celebrated for its toughness and spirit of adventure, often took place in developing countries, former colonial territories, traversing remote lands, sometimes pristine, sometimes already impacted by resource extraction. The iconic Land Rover Defender became a global symbol of exploration and resilience, but its presence in these regions also echoes the earlier roles of similar vehicles, enabling access to remote, resource-rich areas for external powers. Look at the incredible detail on this diecast. The expedition equipment, the snorkel, the protective bars. It's built for survival, built for venturing where others can't. A powerful machine. But what narratives does it silently carry about the lands it conquered and the resources it potentially helped uncover? This diecast model is a miniature reminder of the vast, complex stories behind seemingly simple acts of adventure. Next, we have the Mini GT Range Rover 1971 Bahama Gold. The original Range Rover was a revolutionary vehicle. It combined luxury with serious off-road capability. It brought a level of comfort and style to environments previously only accessible by rugged, utilitarian machines. But this combination also has a symbolic weight. It represented the increasing ability of the privileged to access and enjoy remote, often pristine, natural landscapes. A form of recreational exploration that, while seemingly benign, is a direct descendant of the initial push into these territories. The ability to travel to remote areas, whether for leisure or resource assessment, often comes with a certain degree of privilege and power. The Bahama Gold color itself evokes tropical, exotic locales, places often associated with colonial history and resource wealth. This diecast captures that blend of ruggedness and sophistication. It reminds us that even when the direct act of resource extraction fades, The legacy of access and influence over these lands, often facilitated by such vehicles, continues. So, when we admire these fantastic mini GT diecasts, the Land Rover Camel Trophy and the Range Rover 1971, let's appreciate them for their engineering and detail. But let's also remember the broader narratives they represent. They are not just symbols of adventure, they are also vehicles of legacy, carrying the echoes of exploration, resource control, and a complex history of global power dynamics. Understanding this historical context enriches our appreciation for these icons, pushing us to ask deeper questions about our past and our present. What other diecasts in your collection, or that you know of, do you think carry a hidden or often overlooked historical legacy? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more insightful diecast reviews. See you next time!